My parents got divorced when I was not even one yet. My mom has, schizophrenia and a lot of other mental issues.
Oh, wow.
And so she was my dad already had 2 kids from his first marriage.
Right.
And so my mom suddenly had to be, in a foreign country, with the schizophrenia kind of bubbling up, especially after giving birth to me. She had to be a stepmom. My dad was her first boyfriend.
How old was she at the time?
She was in her 30s. So like a little later to be getting, to start hearing voices and things like that.
Yeah.
Usually it's, I guess, in your 20s is when something like paranoid schizophrenia hits.
How
But
does it present? Like, because you'll hear people throw the term around loosely, but
mhm.
and I know you can't speak broadly, but how did it present for your mom? Like, what was her schizophrenia like?
From what I am told, because I'm now talking with those siblings again.
Yeah, yeah,
They had
yeah.
a very traumatic time with her. My mom was very abusive to them. She was the stepmom.
Oh,
you know,
wow. I'm sorry.
and so it presents itself. How do I? So there's like movies about. I talk about representation in TV and movies.
Yeah.
And I joke that, there's Fresh Off the Boat, an Asian family on TV, or Crazy Rich Asians, the movie. But, when people ask, like, was your family kind of like that? And I'm like, no, it's more like, have you seen The Ring? Like the bitch that comes out of the TV. Ah, that's my mom. So it's more like that.
Oh man,
My family is
comedians,
like,
we're the worst. We're truly the worst.
we are the worst, but they made us this way.
Oh.
So it's more like that, like, or like Babadook or something. This is how, even my siblings describing it, my mom, I guess, used to, when they would go to bed at night, she would, take a kitchen knife, and there's like metal bars for the framing of the bed. I guess she would just run the knife along.
You are shitting me.
Yeah, and then she would also do it on their face. They told me just this last trip back to Japan, they're like, oh, we didn't tell you this story about your mom. So, when I joke, I joke that it's like the girl from The Ring, Samira, that crawls out of the TV.
Yeah.
But it's kinda, or Babadook lurking in the darkness, watching you sleep. That was my mom. And so I guess that's when they were like, okay, it's not I don't think it's a Taiwanese thing. They started realizing there was a lot
There's something
happening.
wrong, yeah.
Yeah, tormenting in her head, voices in her head telling her, to do things. Yeah, so then, but then I've always known her like that. So, I just didn't, I guess that was the beginnings. Yeah.
Wait, so help me understand. So your mom and dad get divorced when you're still 1 year old, and then you grow up with your mom.
Good question. Thank you. I had that question too. Why did I go to my mom? Why live with her? Because my dad, he was an engineer, and he already had custody of 2 kids from a former marriage. For the most part, he was very like stable. So why would, after a divorce, when my mom get custody of me?
Right, yeah.
My dad actually, thanks to Ira Glass of This American Life, and I joke, you never want to call from Ira Glass because that means your life was bad. You never want to be an inspiration, which, Trevor, you are, but that means shit happened. Someone fucked up, right? It's not good to be.
It is true.
Right?
No, it is true. You're so inspiring. It's shorthand for...
Yeah.
Oof.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all those phrases. You're very brave. That means something about sort of like how you look.
Right.
So brave. Then
Yes.
that's your looks. And then you're an inspiration.
Yeah.
Means
Have you ever been told you're brave?
I've never been told I'm brave, but I've definitely been told I'm an inspiration.
He's a model.
I've never been told. No, I just got not brave enough.
Right.
Yeah.
But an inspiration, of course.
An inspiration, of course. Of course.
Yeah. You know who's not an inspiration? Martin Smith. You know who that is?
No.
Exactly. We've never heard of him because he's just living a regular life, parents still together, baby trust fund. Happy.
I'm often torn about whether or not I would want that for myself.
Where just just chill,
Well, yeah, like so,
no
you know,
laws keeping your parents apart.
yeah, like I just think of I think there's a world where somebody grows up and everything is the way it is meant to be for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Their life doesn't involve anything particularly crazy. Like, let's put it this way: like, no one would read their book. Is the way I would put it.
No, yeah, that's what I said. We don't
You
know
know,
Martin. Never heard of him.
but I go, those people are. I think honestly, I think they're sort of like better for society for the most part because I think they don't exist in extreme land.
Mm-hmm.
But they're also not the people who write the greatest symphonies, and they're not the people who make the greatest movies, and they're not the people who like
Sure.
invent things, and then
And sometimes they do actually.
Invent
Sometimes they're
things?
the ones that get to tell stories too.
I don't know.
No.
I don't know. I think. Look, I think everyone can do something, but there is a common thread that you'll find with genius in particular, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't even like. I think I'm too sane to be genius, thankfully.
Mm-hmm.
But like when you get to levels of genius, there is almost no genius person I know who has not had some fraught existence that nobody else would want to have.
Of course, yeah, totally, yeah.
And then I'm torn. I'm like, is it worth giving that person that existence to get what the world gets afterwards?
I know.
Or do we wish everyone a good life and then nothing
Ever gets
exceptional?
made?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know.
I was joking because I was trying not to laugh because you were in the kindest of words calling people basic. You were like, the basic people have to exist. I mean, they keep the water fountains on, and they keep the movie projections
you get
going.
me into so much trouble. I was not.
I mean, I was like, wow, get this man on Drag Race. This is a read.
No, I'm not saying.
And I was joking that, sometimes basic people do get to make movies and TV. And that's why some of them kind of, they don't want to take risks sometimes with storytelling. So it's like, oh, why this movie again? It's like, oh, another basic person. Maybe, who did have like a pretty cushiony life. Sometimes they do get a platform, whatever. Maybe sometimes they become president. They had a cushiony life or something. Even if.
But I think Trump is like the opposite. Funny enough, I think Trump had a financially cushioned life, but from everything I've read about his life,
that's true.
He did not have like. I don't think he had a good relationship with his father in the way that they were together. So people be like, oh, but his dad was rich and he bailed him out. And it's like, yeah. That's the financial side of things. Trump, to me, doesn't seem like somebody who was hugged regularly.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I mean?
But, sweetie, to that I say, bitch, join the club, okay? Yeah. Guess who else wasn't hugged? Me. I'm just out here looking cute, being a sweetie to people. So, cry me a river.
I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it's to feel bad.
Not
for him.
to you too.
No. But I'm not saying it's to feel bad for him. It's just it's the you know what it is. It's the other side of the coin, right?
Yeah.
If you I think of it like an experiment. If you inflict a certain amount of anything on this object that is a human, it can turn out sort of one of two ways. So you like zap it with. Let's call it terribleness in some shape or form, emotional, financial, whatever it may be. You zap it, it could become like beautiful genius, or it could become terrible genius in a way.
No, for sure.
And so I'm like, is it worth zapping at all if symphonies might on the other side be like world wars?
For sure, yeah, right. Or it's like, or do we just? It's like keep it basic.
Yeah, just everyone is. Oh, you said Martin Smith.
Yes, you remembered his name.
Yeah, we just Martin Smith everyone.
Yes, exactly. Made up name, obviously. It was like a Jane Doe, No offense to Martin.
Of course not.
Yeah, it was just the first name.
Or anyone from the Smith family.
Yes. It's kind of my go-to. I think when I was learning English, Smith was like the example name in sentences or something.
How old were you when you learned English?
I was 8. I started at 8, yeah.
Because you joke and you say like English is not your first language, but I argue you have a greater grasp of the English language than many native English speakers because of how you play with the language.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of us, you're what? I don't even know the name. Polyglot?
Oh, polyglot?
Polyglot.
How many do you have to speak to be a polyglot?
I mean, you speak like 7?
No, the number keeps going up. I speak like 5 and then 6 if I'm in the place.
It's you and Pete Buttigieg, right? Supposedly Pete Buttigieg speaks like 7. I was like, maybe like he can order food. I'm sure. Maybe. Pete?
How many languages do you speak?
3.
So
4th if on tequila. Then I'm like, I don't even know what I'm saying.
were you raised in Japanese?
I was raised in Japanese. And then when I came to the States, because the Taiwanese side took me.
Yeah.
Oh, so my dad had full custody of me in Japan. And then my grandma took me from him and brought me to the States as like a 2-month vacation. And then that's how it was kind of like a kidnapping.
How old were you?
I was 8, yeah. So that's when I came. And then because I was suddenly with my Taiwanese side of the family too, that's when I and we stayed with my mom and my uncle and aunt who were already in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
They're also Taiwanese. So at the same time I was learning English, I learned Mandarin too because I was hearing it in the house.
Okay.
Suddenly.